sponsored by Squarespace. It has been 5 years since that infamous video in which I lambasted Chinese blockbusters for chasing after Hollywood trends.
We were inspired by the Hall of Mirror in Versailles.
Since then, Wandering Earth, Creation of the Gods, and Ne Zha 2 have all proven that mainland cinema can now stand on its own. You may not agree with the quality of these films, and really, neither do I. But there's no denying that they feel Chinese and appeal to a Chinese audience. Indeed, if you look at the highest grossing films in China, 9 out of 10 of them are homegrown productions, and almost all of them came out in the past 5 years. Chinese cinema had turned over a new leaf. Of course, like any other film industry, China still shits its pants sometimes. But oddly, Chinese filmgoers no longer pay attention to these stink bombs. As a result, I stopped talking about them too. It's just no fun picking on something so irrelevant. But the world is going to shit and we all need some levity. So for old time's sake, allow me to pick up my favorite bad habits. Let's take a look at some recent Chinese stinkers and also talk about why China no longer cares about its flops. As strange as it sounds, it has less to do with China and more to do with Hollywood. Let's start with the worst one I've seen in years. Back in 2005, Jackie Chan starred in The Myth, a martial arts fantasy film directed by Stanley Tong centered on a love story spanning centuries. It was cheesy but successful. Jackie's dramatic acting was pretty solid. Anyway, 20 years later, the creative duo decided to microwave the moldy leftovers. The result is the 2024 pseudo remake, A Legend. That's it. That's the movie. In a sad attempt to recapture the glory days, the film depicts a 20-year-old Jackie Chan. I don't even need to comment, just look at it. It's like pissing right into your eyeballs. I said this was an attempt to relive the younger years because outside of the deepfake, the rest of the movie also feels like a relic from the past. The premise is recycled from The Myth. The oversaturated color is also from that era. Somehow, even the montage looks outdated, as does the scene transitions. It's a movie made by filmmakers stuck in the past. So, are there any redeeming qualities? Well, there's a guy who fires a bow using his neck. Creatively stupid, I must say. Next up, The Journey of Flowers, a 2024 film based on a 2015 TV series, which itself was based on a popular novel that defined contemporary xianxia fiction. The original show, while looking a bit silly, was a big hit among young adults longing for love. The film, however, came out a decade later. The original audience is now in their 30s, everything silly now just looks stupid. The film begins with an immaculate transition. It is too smart for me to comprehend. Indeed, at every corner, this film tries to impress you with flashy yet cheap effects. Imagine the ambition of Dragon Ball on the budget of a mobile game app. By the way, despite the absolute lack of expression, none of the faces are deepfakes. The actors are just that bad. In fact, the film is a masterpiece of poor artistry. In this one shot alone, you get lifeless acting, flat lighting, awkward framing, and a static JPEG for a background. It's bad in every conceivable aspect. If any movie embodied the Chinese meme your art class was taught by the gym teacher, this is it. No one in the production team has a sense of aesthetics. When the movie failed critically and financially, the director came out to apologize to his cast and crew, and that's how the story came to an end. You know, every time a viewer accuses me of not reviewing good Chinese movies, I want to tell them that half the good stuff they're thinking of are actually TV shows. Last and the least, Bureau 749, a sci-fi film riding the wave created by The Wandering Earth and The Free Body Problem. This blockbuster film was directed by Lu Chuan of City of Life and Death fame, and starred Carrie Wong, one of China's top idols. It has all the ingredients for a hit. It's a story about a young man joining a secret organization that fights aliens. Yeah, like Men in Black, but emo. I didn't know emo is still a thing. Look, here's an example. In this scene, a young man is being chased.
1、2、3、4、5，跑过这座桥，我只需要5秒，但摆脱他们，似乎我要跑一辈子。
It's so f***ing chilly, holy shit. Why are we still here, just to suffer? How about the big reveal of the young man's secret? Everyone stares solemnly, the music is emotional and epic. And then you see it. The young man has a pair of wings the size of subway footlongs. This is supposed to be tragic, by the way. He was bullied for those. That's some tall girl level of self-victimization. That's the thing, right? The whole film is tailor-made to give teenage girls a damaged heartthrob they can fix. It's another expensive ad for a pretty face. Last time I covered a movie like that, things didn't end well. Maybe I should have kept my mouth shut this time. You know, why can't they just advertise an idol like a normal goddamn person, making a website with Squarespace? It's a whole lot cheaper, you can start completely free, no credit cards are needed. Simply visit squarespace.com/accenthecinema to start your free trial. Use the code accenthecinema and you can get 10% off your first purchase. After that, you can start making your website right away. With a myriad of tools, tips, and tutorials, including professionally designed templates, even the most artistically inept person can still produce great results. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It only takes me 5 seconds to make this website. Once that is done, you can write blogs, post upcoming events, monitor traffic, and even keep in touch with your fans in an appropriate manner, thank you. In other words, you can be as fanciful as you want. You're not limited by the format of social media. All of your posted content also belongs to you. It is your website through and through. Not to mention, it's just more professional than advertising yourself on social media or with an emo movie. So, go show up your brand and business. Visit squarespace.com/accenthecinema and start your website today. Some of you may be wondering, Yang, these movies look f***ing hilarious. Why not make full videos on them? The answer? They aren't worth talking about. In recent years, domestic reception on bad Chinese movies have been apathetic. Reviews of Bureau 749 express their disappointment, but show no mockery. People stop finding humor in these films, the box office numbers agree as well. The change in attitude occurred partly because the films aren't bad in any unique ways. A Legend is just a less funny version of Kung Fu Yoga. Yes, I f***ing said that. The Journey of Flower is a less hideous version of Once Upon a Time. And Bureau 749 is just Shanghai Fortress Part 2. Same emo, same cringe. We have seen worse. But the bigger reason for the apathy came from the success of Chinese blockbusters. Now, I pick my words carefully. When talking about bad Chinese movies, I refer to them as blockbusters. That's because China has never truly struggled with art house cinema. It struggled in the mainstream space. In short, China needed films that create pop culture, in the same way Star Wars creates fandom. In this conversation, quality almost doesn't matter. What matters is the subject and the aesthetic connect with the local audience. And connect they did. Enter Nerja 2. Its subtle BL undertones kicked off a tidal wave of fan art and memes. It's a wild exaggeration of the film, but also a subtle form of protest. You see, in 2020, the fanfiction site Archive of Our Own was mass reported by a certain group of Chinese netizens. The site was swiftly banned in China for hosting, quote, obscene and sexual materials. In the following years, the government also restricted other suggestive contents, such as dancing in skimpy outfits on TikTok. The series of events resulted in, well, this. Fan arts that deliberately push against the conservative Chinese social standards as a way to push back against censorship. So, Ne Zha 2 became more than a movie. That's the kind of mainstream relevance Chinese cinema wanted. In contrast, deepfake Jackie Chan, while funny, left essentially no cultural footprint. Reviewing these bad movies is like digging up a pile of shit just to smell it. This channel has always been about bridging cultures. If these movies left no cultural impact, then I don't really have an incentive to cover them. Still gotta watch them though. Let's go back to our list of high-grossing films. Notice anything? Only one Hollywood movie made a cut. Turns out, the third reason for the change in attitude doesn't even involve Chinese cinema. It's Hollywood's fault. Look at the review page for Madame Web. That's where you'll find the sarcastic comments. People drew diagrams to explain how dumb this scene is. They post memes to roast the cliché story. Also, someone is importing English memes to the Chinese internet, like a reverse of this channel. The movie is so bad, lambasting it has become an internet sport, and this is far from the only Hollywood movie to have such honor. If you are from an English-speaking country, how you feel about Hollywood is probably quite similar to how I felt about Chinese blockbusters 5 years ago. How the turntable. Back then, my criticism of Chinese mainstream films centers on the industry's attempt at copying Hollywood. In a sense, Chinese studios treated Hollywood as a rival, a goal to surpass. Opinions may differ on how far Chinese cinema has come, but many will agree that these days, Hollywood blockbusters f***ing suck. They're so boring. It's hard to get excited about Mufasa the Lion King, and that's the 6th highest grossing film of 2024. Sure, good films still exist, but they often aren't major studio productions and don't make it to theaters in China. Once again, the smaller artistic projects prevail, but the blockbuster struggled. There's a Chinese meme that says, 没有对比就没有伤害, which I'll translate to, compare makes the despair. With nothing good to compare to, there is not a whole lot of motivation to dig up your own flaws. So whether China won or not doesn't matter, because to the Chinese audience and much of the world, Hollywood is losing relevance. So I had to rewrite this script twice. Once after China considered limiting US film imports. Then again, after America proposed a 100% tariff on foreign-produced films. Rising international tension is putting a wedge between cultures, with the US seemingly wanting to shut itself off from the rest of the world. And that frightens me a lot. In this era, when hatred drives profit, when outrage fuels engagement, rejecting foreign culture isn't caution, it's prideful xenophobia. But there is nothing to be prideful of. A strong man doesn't plug his ears when challenged, only a toddler does that. A strong man listens and chooses to learn or refute. Had China completely shut out Hollywood to protect its domestic film industry, it likely would have stayed stagnant and never reached where it is today. Had China not considered the merit of Kung Fu Panda, the Chinese animation industry would still be in the gutter. Now, Hollywood is at a similar crossroads. The question is, what choice will America make?